Yes, we start. Good morning and welcome to the second day of our wonderful event, the Youth Conference. We had a great day yesterday with a lot of fantastic speakers and an even more fantastic audience interested in all the topics that were presented. We talked about motivation and we talked about startups, and today we'll continue with a very long program, so look forward to exciting speakers. Let me start with, as I did yesterday, with my morning news scan. I don't know if you've read the news. Finland has a new prime minister, and at the age of 34. And the good news is, it's a girl, it's a lady. So, dear Albanians, especially Albanian women, what the Finns can do, you can do. So 34 years, a female leader, just shows that if you really want to succeed, you can do it. So go for it. And as I said yesterday, next year, I want to have many more female participants on stage here. The world needs female competence. So, but today we start with three gentlemen this morning. And the first speaker came all the way from Montenegro, and he talks about entrepreneurship. And he says, actually, I've learned a lot about when I failed. I didn't learn only through the successes I have, but also when I failed. And he is a speaker talking about HR, about communication and IT. And we had a short talk before I came on stage, and we decided to introduce him as the second best looking man after me. So please welcome Nikola Jovanovic.
So, hello everyone. Good. So yeah, as you can see, second best looking guy in the room. The rest of the crew will probably be smart during the day, so I'm supposed to be good looking. But before that, I want to make a point. Yes, so I'm not from Montenegro, I'm from Serbia. But this is actually perfect because one of my points today is that actually we are all in the same craft here in Balkans, and we can say this only through entrepreneurship. But before that, are you a bit cold? Because I am. Yeah, I see people in jackets. Can you join me and just stand up for a minute? And just like, get some energy in that body? And help me also do something? Can you wait for me? Yes. Thank you. So why I did this, why I did this selfie, is that I feel really extremely proud to be here today and very happy. Before the conference, I wanted to talk about entrepreneurship and what entrepreneurship is and stuff like that. But yesterday, when I joined the conference during the panel in the afternoon, I realized that I should be talking about something else, because I'm coming actually. I'm not only from Serbia. I was born in Kosovo, in the city of Peja, also known as the city of best beer in the world. So if you're legal to drink, you can try it in any market in Elbasan too. I saw it yesterday. And what I want to say is that it's a small city, a bit smaller than Elbasan, but very similar. And after hearing yesterday, and after feeling the energy and the motivation of people from SpoonbillNest organization, and the commitment of your officials on the stage, and the university, and the mayor, and everybody, I really wish that 20 years ago or more, we had this kind of team and this kind of commitment in my home city, because we didn't have that. And I became an entrepreneur only by chance. You guys here have a fantastic chance, and I want really to applaud Elvis and his team for these efforts, because you will probably be thanking him in 10 years from now for everything that he's doing for your city. Because I will say again what I said just before. In Balkans, we are all in the same crowd, literally crowd. Why do I say so? You know what this is that I put on my front light? Can anyone guess what this means? Yeah, good one, but no. What this means is actually, these are migration numbers from our region. And as you can see, Serbia and Albania are leading. You know, at least we are leading in something. You know, and why is this happening? Why are these migrations happening? And does anyone know why people move from our countries so much? Better life, maybe, but why? Why is there a better life? Money, that's a good one. You want? Oh, that's a good one. That's a very, very good one. Yeah, so some people, and these numbers actually, so this is 2017, these numbers get even worse. So I don't have exact numbers for Albania, but for Serbia, we lose 4,700 people every month permanently. Most of them are people that are labor, people that should be working. So they go to the west, they go same as Albanians, to Germany, Austria, Nordic countries, the US, Australia, everywhere in the world, seeking for better life, seeking for, not easy money, but for value for what they do. And why is this happening? Why don't they do that in our countries? Because at the same time, we have an issue as he mentioned that I work in human resources. At the same time that we are losing so many people, it's getting harder and harder to get proper people to hire them for our companies. It's really not easy to find good people, despite the huge unemployment rates in our countries. So why is this happening? I believe it's because our education system is creating people for labor and not entrepreneurs, not self-minded, self-thinking people. Now, how did this happen? How did this happen we create labor? This is because our education system is pretty much the same as 100 years ago. But how the education system is actually defined is how we define literacy is directly affecting our education system. So 100 years ago, when we kicked out Ottomans finally, our governments, leaders, started discussing like, hey, so we kicked out Ottomans, so now our society should be better. So how do we do that? We do that through education, of course. And what was education 110, 120 years ago? First, it was to read and write. Everybody needs to learn how to read and write. Because then we can, be on another level. Then some years after that, during the industrialization age and stuff, we needed more. So we added numbers and image comprehension so that we understand better the world we live in. This kind of change created also engineers and created a bigger change in the industrial world that we live in. And then we come closer to today's age, and then we said, hey, so everybody needs to learn how to use a computer. Everybody has a PC. Nowadays it's even better now. We have iPad, we have cell phones, we have all kinds of gadgets. And everybody needs to know this. But still, is this enough for today's age? Is it enough for what kind of people are getting out of this system? And because even in our schools in Serbia, probably in Albania is the same. Every school has a PC room, right? And you have informatics as a subject, and you learn something there. Maybe you learn some basics of programming and stuff like that. But it's really on a low level, right? Today we enter another age where we say, so everybody now has gadgets. You guys are, millennials, zennials, whatever, as if you're born with your phone in your hand. And now it's not even, we are not talking about content anymore of what we need to learn, but how do we use all these gadgets in education? So how do we combine your style of life with education, and how do we get you to get knowledge through this tech, and what are the things that you need to know, and what are the things that you actually don't need to learn in school, but you can easily Google, and in 5 minutes you know all the details. Because I don't know about Albania, but in Serbia, when we have history classes, It's like a whole bunch of numbers and dates that we know, like you know, when Napoleon started moving towards Russia, what exact date was of this battle and stuff, like, who cares? I mean, yes, you should know the age, but everything is Googleable, so you don't really need to know this. But this is this how classroom looks like in Albania? No? How does it look like? What's the difference? Blackboard. Okay. Yeah, blackboard, whiteboard. Like, don't be racist here, please. Okay. Yeah. So do you think this is good? Oh, okay. Because I don't. I mean, this is also much better than what we have in Serbia. We have the same, like you know, they're in the same class. But the issue is that these are just cosmetic changes that you see here. You see some nice tables, you see some nice chairs, and you see a whiteboard there, you see some screens there. So the potential is there. But education has not changed for the last 100 years. It's still the same. It's still a teacher telling the lesson and expecting you guys to reproduce that and say it exactly as it's meant by the program. So there is no challenge there, there is no discussion. It's just they say, hey, this is how it is, and you have to learn this lesson, and if you reproduce this lesson, you're well off. Usually in this kind of systems, those guys that are auditive, so those guys that are good listeners, they listen during the lesson, they raise their hand in the end of the class, and reproduce that quickly, and they get 5s, A's, or whatever you have in Albania. And those that are not such good listeners, they get marks later, probably harder. But it's again, a lot of people learning by heart just learning the content that is there about the program. And it's not only that. I'm going to make a concept here about communication in Albania, and please tell me if I'm wrong. Not here. So, I see speaking on. So teachers, instead of working with you guys and talking to you, they have to make plans. They have to make reports. Actually, not even again. They have to get appointments because the system tells about how the law. The teachers have to improve every year. And how do they improve? They get it done by going on different education. Maybe this conference is even bringing points to be. There you go. But at least this is good content, yeah? And from a good looking guys. What else? As I mentioned, it's focused on knowledge and the interpretation of this knowledge. So the government tells you this is what you need to know. This is exactly what you need to know at this age. We don't want you to know anymore. Have you ever heard of anything good that happened when government says you need to do that? Because this is what's happening. And this kind of system is usually very slow. So when we hear, about, for example, great successes of Nordic countries on PISA tests, we go to them and say, hey, we want to be like you guys. And we take your system and we reform our system to be like the Finland one. Probably Albania tried the same, like Serbia. But as this reform goes on, it lasts for, 5-10 years, and it's already old, and since our system is focused on procedures and reports and plans, it doesn't really replicate the system in Finland, but it kind of adapts it to our current culture and system. So it never really happens, this change. So in Serbia we have Finnish and Swedish and US, like all kinds of reforms that we did, but still on PISA tests we are getting worse and worse. And parents are not involved enough in education. So some would say that parents don't have time for this, and we send kids to schools because we don't want to educate them. I mean, it's the system, we send them to school so that we don't have to educate them. But in today's world, this is not the case, because the change is so big and so fast that both parents and kids have to learn together. Because it's not that the parents are anymore like when I was a kid. What I was learning in school was pretty much the same like what my parents were learning. Not many changes there. So they felt safe. And they felt that they can support me when I need help with math and stuff. But today, what needs to be in schools is new also for parents. So parents cannot help anymore. So parents need to be involved in order to understand the education system so that they can learn probably easier than the kids and then help the kids. So what is happening? So I want to emphasize this, like what kind of a world are we living in? So we have a world of fake news. And we have the world of huge data privacy issues, where the companies like Cambridge Analytica were analyzing a bunch of data from Facebook and understanding how we think, how we do stuff, all that, and then providing you with information in order so that you, when you become voters, you vote for somebody they like you to vote for, or to buy products that they want you to buy. And this is because we kind of accepted that we live in a world where data is open and data is everywhere, so we cannot care about that. But we should. Then probably YouTube is big in Albania too. Balkan YouTubers in general are earning a lot of money. Don't know the scene in Albania that much, but in Serbia we have YouTubers that are 20 years old or so, buying Lamborghinis, Porsches, apartments, I don't know, like really a lot of money. And when brands approach them, they don't even want to work with brands to promote them unless they offer them 5,000 or 10,000 euros for starters, and then they negotiate. It's ridiculous how much you can do today without proper education, school, anything. It's you just go on YouTube, and if you're creative, if you're talented for that, you can earn money. New type of money is booming. So cryptocurrency, I don't want to get into the details or anything, but the important thing is that this is not regulated by national banks or government. And this makes it so big and such a big change that I'm not sure how national banks and governments will deal with it. They are trying, but I really don't think this is probably the biggest change that is happening to the world currently. We are losing some repetitive jobs. Like if we get out of the education system as we were supposed to, because this system was, our education system is created to make, well, not cheap, but labor, so that you finish your high school or you finish your university, you get out and you find a job. This is what my dad was telling me when we moved to Belgrade as refugees from Kosovo. Tell me, look, now you just finished high school. It's my job to put you in university. If army was still mandatory there, if you have to go to army, and then when you finish all that, you find a job and you're on your own. So, and this is the system that they lived in for like decades and decades. You finish school, you find a job, and that's it. You stay at one job or in one company. Maybe you grow a bit vertically, maybe you try something else, but you probably stay most of your life in one company. So you're labeled, that there is no any sense of entrepreneurship or trying something new in this system. And now these people are under a huge threat because AI and machine learning are taking over their jobs. So if they were in admin or finances, it's very likely that in the next 5 or 10 years they will actually lose their job. So they need to reinvent themselves. And have you heard about Snapchat porn? Don't Google it now, but I want to emphasize the importance of it. And this is why I'm saying that parents and kids have to learn together today, and that education system, ideal education system, will integrate parents into learning. Because, when I was young, when there was no internet and stuff, if I made something, bad, if I got drunk and somebody found me in the middle of the street, or if I, while being drunk, destroyed something, some car or something like that, not that I did that, but if I did that, probably, even if I was arrested, nobody would know. I mean, everybody in my city will know, and they will maybe make fun of me. But 2 years later, nobody knows about that. Even worse, if something happened, and this happens a lot, when, if you're a young girl and, you fall in love with an older guy, like you're, first year of high school, and he's fourth year, he's a hot shot in school and stuff, you fall in love, you're easily manipulated, and he makes a video of you, like a sexy video of you, and if this goes internet, it's there forever. It's like it's not like that your life is ruined just in this school or in this city, because if this happened 20 years ago to me and my generation, like, this video would disappear very soon. Even if it was a video or a photo, it would disappear. But now, when you put something on the internet, it stays there forever. And especially be very careful about Snapchat and TikTok and all these tools today, social networks that you use, where you feel it's created to make you feel safe about the content, because it disappears after 24 hours and stuff, and if somebody takes a print screen and stuff like that. But it's not really like that. Actually, you can download these videos that you don't even know that it's downloaded, and then people take these videos. If you make a sexy video or so, and they sell them on porn sites, your videos, and they stay there forever. So please make sure that you care about that. So I'm saying that now, even myself, that I really think that I'm digitally literate, and that I'm kind of proactive, and that I know my stuff. Still, I need to keep learning with my kid, because he gets involved in new stuff, some different stuff that I don't know. And like now I realized, like some months ago, that TikTok is now the biggest social network and the most valuable social network. I never used it because I find it weird and stupid, but that just means that I'm old, not that it's actually stupid. So I am old and I have to keep learning with my son. So we have some, so I don't want to say that everything is dark and that nothing works. So we have some reactions, and you could see yesterday that you have fantastic commitment of university and government officials here in the room, plus Elvis that is leading this initiative. This is amazing. In Serbia, we have a fantastic initiative that puts coding and programming in primary schools. It's currently being piloted in 40 schools, but it will be rolled out in all schools next year or the year later. What is so good about it is not that kids or young students will learn how to code and program. That's not the idea. But the idea is that you learn about algorithms and algorithm way of thinking. Because whatever you do in the future, you will have to understand algorithm way, because you will either be using machine learning, AI, and all different kinds of tools, or you will have to use it in your work, whatever you do. That's HR, marketing, production, whatever. So the important thing is that you learn it. And as far as I hear that there will be coding very soon next year, piloted also in Albania. I'm very happy about that. And why am I especially happy about that is that this is a good way to start thinking about how education system should look like. Because as I said, we don't want education system that provides labor. Because if we provide labor as a system, this labor will go to Germany, will go to the US, will go where somebody pays more money for what I do. And the problem there is that not that our education system is bad. Because, when you go from Serbia or Albania, when you go to Germany and the US, they usually say, wow, you guys are really skillful. Like, you know your stuff. You're so good at math. You're so, everybody speaks English almost perfectly. This is amazing. Like, how do you guys do it? Like, maybe we should replicate your education system. Like, yes, if you want to keep creating labor. And if we keep creating labor, the political and social situation in our region will push these people towards the West. This is how migration works. That's it. So we need to reset ourselves, and we need to use what we have good and start creating, as our region, as Balkans, start creating something, because now we live in a globalized, all networked world. Use what we have, use the thing that we are still not expensive as a region, and we can dominate the world actually from our region. This is why I believe, and I lived in the West. I lived in Vienna for some time, I lived in Istanbul, worked for Microsoft. I've seen how that works, and I'm quite sure that if we keep talent in Balkans, we can be the next big thing in the world. So, I spoke about my little project that I call Superheroes some time ago on the TEDx event in Belgrade. And this is, I'm trying to promote the essence of how education system should work with kids. So I don't want to talk about content yet. So this is just the essence. What kind of kids do we want to have? So we want to have kids with their two legs strongly on the ground, where one is critical thinking, so you need to challenge everything. We need you to, when you talk about history or when you talk about math, not to just replicate of how the math problem is being solved, but to challenge that and try to find a new way. Or if somebody says like, so Napoleon did a good thing when he did that, try to challenge that, to discuss with kids as a teacher. This is very important. Then we have to keep our kids curious. I think you guys, if you are, make sure that you stay curious, that you constantly learn about new stuff, that you don't feel like, you know, I can't do anything because, you know, I live in a small city in Albania, or I live in a small city in Kosovo or Serbia or Montenegro, doesn't matter. It's not worth my time, actually. Whatever I do, it's not going to change things. Yes, it will. Because we live in a really globalized world where everybody has the same chance. And then you have to be responsible for your knowledge. With both your hands, grab the opportunity and be responsible with it. Be responsible about your personal development. Be responsible about what you have in your hands. And then the head, self-awareness. You need to be aware of what you know. You need to be aware of what's your capacity and what you know, what you don't know, what you need to learn. This is very, very important, and we don't do this in schools. Like, we grade kids, we grade you guys based on the interpretation of some knowledge that government said you need to know. But we don't tell you, hey, but this is not enough. You don't know this and this, so maybe you should start learning. So self-awareness is very, very important. And if we have this kind of kids, if we, you know, put you guys a cake that says self-confidence on it, you become a superhero. Because I really, really believe that nobody in our region should feel, and we often feel like that, feel that, you know, we are third world countries when it comes to, you know, to EU. EU usually sends us these messages, and, you know, companies from the West come to our region, use us as cheap labor, and this affects our cultures and affects our minds. And we need more self-confidence, and just by understanding that we are the same, that we actually have same talents and same opportunity like somebody in the US or Germany or Austria or Australia, wherever. And then, when we have this little superhero, right, we need some skill sets. And this is where I talk again about literacy. So, what is a literacy today? I call it survival skill sets for kids and parents because I again want to emphasize that both parents and kids should learn together. First, sociology. I know maybe somebody expected IT programming and stuff, but in the all-connected world where, you know, we are born with our cell phones and where we will have coding in schools and all that, understanding the world around us has never been so important. Understanding how networks and communities work on a global scale is important, because if you understand them, then you will understand what can happen on Snapchat, what can happen on different social networks. You can protect yourself. Then we have digital literacy, because, you know, usually we'll say like, digital literacy, you know, they are born with phones, they know how to use them. Yes, you know how to use it, you know how to take a photo, you know how to install a game and stuff like that, but this is not enough. Safety is an important part of digital literacy, for example, and we don't pay much attention to it. And I know, you know, some of my friends that are parents of a bit older kids that in mind, like they are, what, 11, 12, 13 years old, maybe some of you are like that. And there was a little scandal in school, something with Instagram and, I don't know, some selfies and whatnot. And reaction of my friend was to take the phone from his daughter and not allow her and kill her Instagram account. And I'm like, dude, like, what the hell? Like, what's what that's supposed to mean? Like, she won't be on Instagram because, I don't want her to be like this 13-year-old kid. Like, I'm like, but man, if you take phone from her, she will do that just on somebody else's phone. So somebody else will own these photos, and maybe they will be leaked somewhere, and then what, So the point of digital literacy is not to just know how to use phone. It's a bit more than that. Then we have financial literacy. When I was young, we did everything in cash, right? So we didn't have bank accounts, we didn't have online banking, online payments and all that. Today, everybody, even my kid knows that when he's 5 years old, and he knows that on his tablet, when he wants to buy new levels, he needs my credit card. So he called me like, hey dad, click, because it's connected obviously. And when he clicks, I have to approve it on my phone. And he comes with like, approve, I want new levels. He knows that, but education system does not recognize that. We don't have financial literacy in schools. Nobody teaches you anything about how our financial system works, what are banks there for and stuff like that. And then two more most important things for creating entrepreneurship mind in you is, first is information and media literacy. I mentioned fake news before, and probably Albania is, again, pretty much the same, like Balkan and other Balkan countries, is that we are flooded by tabloids and fake news everywhere. And if you, for example, if you read news in Belgrade and Pristina every day, if you just see the cover pages, you will think that we are on the verge of a war. Literally, we are, I don't know, in Serbia it's like Russians are coming to help us, Germany wants with Pristina and Kosovo to start a new war. And you oh my God, the new war is coming. My parents are calling me hey, maybe you shouldn't go to Albania because, something is happening. What? And we need to understand that this is happening. That it's not like 20 years ago where you could read where, journalists were still journalists and not just tabloid writers that are after clicks and likes, because this brings money, obviously. You need to learn how to read news. You need to learn, and it's not just news and media, it's the world around you. You need to understand your world, to get all the information, to process it, and to get something out of it. When you do that, and if you are able to adapt to this situation, and if you understand that sometimes you need to take a few steps back and unlearn something that you learned maybe in school, maybe in your family, and learn it again, learn something how it's done in a different way, then the magic happens. Then you are able to fix what pisses you off, because this is how entrepreneurship works. Something pisses you off, you fix it through a business. Or you see something that you don't feel it's good enough, you create another business to improve that. I give you just a few examples. Fishing booker from Serbia. It's like a friend of mine that he likes fishing, right? And he likes traveling as well. So he wanted to travel to Florida, and he thought, hey, while there, maybe I go fishing. And he tried to Google for fishing boats, and he couldn't find any. And it's like, is it possible that I cannot book fishing from here, and I have to go to Florida and then lose my time, waste my time there to look for fishing boats? And he was like, no, this cannot be possible. And he started Googling, and he couldn't find, so he created Fishing Booker. Currently, only 2 years later, it's like 100 people employees company, completely run from Belgrade, and they have fishing boats everywhere in the world. You can literally, probably, I don't know if Elbasan has a river or something. Even if not, maybe he even has fishing boats here, because they really have fishing boats everywhere. He just fixed a problem. He found a problem and fixed it, and earned a lot of money out of it. Then we have Nordius. Serbia has become quite big in the region as a gaming hub, so we have many game developer companies in Belgrade. Nordius was one of them. It's a couple of guys that worked for Microsoft actually in Denmark. They were those guys that are created like labor from our education system. They went because they found out that they will not earn enough money by working for Serbian companies. They went to Microsoft in Denmark, worked there for some time, then realized that they are gamers as well. And football, just like in Albania and Serbia, is very popular. And I don't know if you guys play, but Football Manager and these kind of games are always popular in Serbia. And said, yeah, but if you want to play Football Manager, you have to, buy a disc or buy an expensive game that you install on your laptop. And if your laptop is a bit older, then after a few years, this database becomes so big and slow and stuff. Why don't we do it online? Because there is Facebook now, so why don't we create a Facebook game? So they quit their jobs and they created Top 11, which is now the most played online football manager game in the world. They also have some other games, but this is the one that gets a lot of money for them. And then, yes, in Albania you have Giraffa. They also fixed a huge problem, and it's a great example of what you should do. Just find the problem and fix it. And before managing to create such a big business, and this is where I will end my presentation for today. I was checking last night the numbers, and I realized that in Albania there are not so many freelancers, which is weird. It's in Serbia, I think almost 5% of all our inhabitants are currently online freelancers. Because if you speak English, and since you're here, I suppose you speak English, and if you know how to use a computer, you are already halfway there. Go to Upwork, register there, see what kind of jobs are there, because there is everything from inserting stuff, simple stuff into some databases, to graphic design, to creating videos, whatever. See what the market is asking. So this is global market, and try learning what you are interested in, and try learning of how to do it, and then offer yourself in the market. Pretty soon you will start earning money, because the need for freelancers is so huge that is amazing. Like some IT companies in Serbia now are struggling to find IT people, developers, and all kinds of designers, everybody, because they don't want to work for one company anymore. They go to Upwork, they earn more money there than by working this. And when you start working on Upwork, when you feel this independence, that independence from the system that is so hard, trying through all your years of education to put you in labor, to put you in workforce, now you feel independent and you don't go back. You create businesses. I used to work in a corporate world. Actually, I used to work in all three sectors. I worked for the government, I worked in NGO sector, I worked in corporate sector, on local, national, international level. And then when I quit and when I became an entrepreneur, it's really, really like the best feeling ever. So here I end. If you want, I will be here all day. If you want any, advices, if you want to talk to me about it, like how to, if you have any questions, please approach me. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today.